I'm still waiting for my heart rate to come down a little bit. It's Michigan at Indiana. Recap. Closer than I expected. Closer than most people expected. The spread was 22.5. Michigan did not cover, to say the least. The offense for Michigan was lackluster. The play calling was not innovative. It didn't make sense in the first half. Second half started to come along, and basically Michigan just had to run the ball to close out the game and get a W. 6-0 for the Wolverines. It wasn't easy in Bloomington. And you know, from last week, I'm going to do a drive-by-drive video here of the game. Michigan receives the opening kick. 5 plays, 77 yards, and a touchdown. Henning with a 16-yard reception to open it up. Bell with a couple of catches, and then Corum with that 50-yard run that was just short of the goal line, but he punches it in on the next play. Michigan's up 7-0. Okay, all is well. Here we go. No, not the case. Even though Indiana's first drive didn't look very pretty, they got 1 first down, and then Basilek got sacked by Barrett and Morris, met him in the backfield. I don't know who got the sack, or if it's a half sack, but they punted. And then Michigan's second drive, they only got 1 first down and were forced to punt. And this is where the play calling comes in. It's J.J. McCarthy versus the worst secondary or pass defense in the Big Ten. So why are we not using McCarthy? Play action or not, drop back and have 4 wide. Let them dissect this awful defense. We didn't do that very much in this game, even though McCarthy did end up with like 300 yards passing and three touchdowns, or just 2. It's a whirlwind for me still. His heart's beating. Michigan in Indiana's second drive, there was a defensive pass interference. Then there was a big pass by Basilek, and running back, Josh Henderson, had a receiving touchdown. So now it's 7-7. In Michigan's third drive, Mike Hart, before the kickoff, Mike Hart just collapsed on the sideline, I guess. I don't know. He was rushed to the, he was carted off safely and then rushed to the hospital. I hope to hear good things. Both Indiana and Michigan were on their knees. Remember, Mike Hart was at Indiana as a running backs coach before he was at Michigan. I hope that he's going to be okay. But the drive stalled at Michigan, or at Indiana's 26-yard line. Michigan's third drive did, and they settled for a field goal. In Indiana's third drive, Jalen Harrell got a sack. All right, great. Well, then he did something like this and got a unsportsmanlike, and it was automatic first down. But then there was an illegitimate touchdown that was called. Someone was blocking too far downfield when the pass was behind the line of scrimmage. So that was brought back on an offensive pass interference on Indiana, and they settle for a field goal. So now the score is 10-10, and it's interesting. Too interesting for me. Michigan's fourth drive was a 3-and-out. Play calling, what the heck's going on? 2 runs and a pass. I don't know what's going on there. Pick a guy, please, and let him run with it. I think there's too many chefs in the kitchen now. I was a believer maybe in collaboration, and that's all well and good, but you need a guy. And Joe Class said this weeks ago, and he had to take back his statement after last week, but I think he was right. Now, on Indiana's fourth drive, Yabi Oki dropped an interception. I'm like, oh no, what is happening? And then the very next play, Rod Moore gets an interception at the Indiana 40-yard line. So, all is well, all is good, I guess. Here we go. Michigan on their fifth drive got an unsportsmanlike and on Indiana. So it was back and forth. The officiating was just weird, and Joel Klatt said this numerous times. But Michigan got to the 7-yard line and had to settle for a field goal, and it was blocked. Indiana blocked the field goal, so it's still 10-10. Indiana, with their 5th drive, got a 39-yard run early, got down to Michigan's 7, and that field goal was blocked. So just a strange game early in the first half. With 3 minutes left on Michigan's 6th drive, they were too conservative, of course, and they were stopped on 4th down, right around like the 40-yard line of Indiana. They really didn't move it. And then Indiana on their 6th drive, the last drive of the half, Mike Morris got in there for a sack, and it was the end of the half. Time expired. So we're tied at halftime, 10-10 with Indiana. Indiana got the ball to open the second half, and they punted to the 2-yard line of Michigan. And Michigan on the ensuing drive went 98 yards and a touchdown, which made it 17-10. I think they unleashed J.J. McCarthy in that series. Passes, a big run by J.J. on, I think, 3rd and long, and he got the first down. They allowed him to be J.J. and went down 98 yards and scored, so it's 17-10 now. And Indiana's 8th drive, they were 3 and out. So this is where the defense steps up. I think 4 of the last 6 Indiana drives were 3 and outs. And one of them, they got the first down as a penalty, and that we'll get to that. And then it was a 3 and out after that. But the defense stepped up big time. Offense was the one that didn't get the job done. Again, I think I said that in a game previous. It's the offense that is not doing their due diligence, and that's the side of the ball that I thought would be elite. And the defensive side I thought would take some time, but they're doing it. All right, this video is getting a little bit long. Here we go. In Michigan's 8th drive, it was set up by the Henning return, and there was a late hit out of bounds, and the drive started at Indiana's 33-yard line. Again, conservative play calling. Go for the jugular, right? Win this game. Instead, they finally threw. They ran the ball a lot and then finally threw when they knew it was going to happen. And a tip pass in the end zone was JJ's first turnover of the season. But it's 17-10 still. And in Indiana's 9th drive, an awful defensive pass interference out of bounds, and that was called. It just shouldn't have been. But also was a roughing the passer that basically he laid the guy down. And it was called roughing the passer. So Indiana gets down there. Michigan with 75 penalty yards at that point. And Joel Klatt even questioned the officiating at that point of the game. And after the penalty, though, they went 3 and out and punted to Michigan's 5-yard line. Michigan, on the ensuing drive, their 9th possession, they started at the 5, and there was an Andrel Anthony sighting. Oh my goodness, he caught a nice ball. And then a false start going into the 4th quarter, and a false start coming out of the 4th quarter. Stalled that drive. CJ had an amazing catch. Holy crap. Cornelius Johnson tipped it off his hand and caught it under his other hand. It was an amazing catch. And it was 3rd and 11 at that point. And Ronnie Bell stretches for the first down. They didn't review it. And I do not blame Harbaugh for not challenging, because it's still a close game, and you want them timeouts in your back pocket, and it's unlikely that they would reverse that call. It was close to the sideline. And he probably did step out, but I'd like to see that. I'd like to see a replay of it at least, down the sideline. So Michigan had to punt. And then in the 10th Indiana drive, they went 3 and out. A big sack by Oki again. Michigan on their 10th drive must score, right? And must figure it out versus this worst secondary in the Big Ten. Worst defense. And ground and pound and get this win. Just get out of here. And that's just what they did. Capped off with a JJ to Schoonmaker touchdown on the outside. It was beautiful. Nice layout by Schoonmaker. It's 24-10 now. In the 11th drive, Indiana went 3 and out again, and this time it was Derek Moore, true freshman, who got the sack, and it was Michigan's 6th sack. I believe they ended up with 7. On Michigan's 11th drive, it was a great pass on the first play of the drive, and then they ran the clock. They ran the clock, ending with a Cornelius Johnson touchdown, which made it 31-10 Michigan, and we just leaned on them in the later portion of the second half. And Indiana's 12th drive, they got 1 first down, but then Braden McGregor got in on the sack party, which was the 7th sack. So mixed feelings here for me. A lot to work on for Michigan. Penn State is coming up, and they got to watch this whole game because they're on a bye, and they'll have a good game plan. So we better be ready for them coming in. It's big noon kickoff again on Fox next week. But a win is a win, I guess. I didn't want to have to say that, but look at Georgia last week. Look at Alabama on the road versus Texas, who just destroyed people. And speaking of other teams who have won, Tennessee went on the road and beat LSU. TCU held on the road at Kansas. Arkansas beat Mississippi State, destroyed Arkansas, and Florida destroyed Missouri. Texas destroyed Oklahoma. Purdue skates by Maryland on the road, and a lot of good games coming up here tonight. So thank you all, and remember to hit the like button and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Go Blue!